This is going to be such a fun video. Number one, it's Thriftapalooza. Number two, it's our 4th year anniversary, and there's just so much stuff going on, and I have such a big surprise for you, so stay tuned. Which is really just a dot on the map. It is very charming, although we're heading away from the water because I'm on my way to pick up a velvet chair. In my Americana booth, I sold a leather wingback and a glass fronted cabinet, and so I need to replace those. So once again, I struck out. That chair was so beautiful in the pictures. This beautiful buttery velvet in yellow. But when I got there, once again, some cats had a party and it was just like all torn apart. So now I'm picking up a little glass fronted cabinet, but I really need a chair. And so I'm gonna take the risk. I'm running short on time, but the person at the pickup doesn't get home until 4:45. So I have some time to look really quickly at Habitat for Humanity. So I'm gonna check it out and maybe I'll get lucky. I'm crossing my fingers. Okay, I got this cabinet. Really looks like the other cabinet I got, and I'm gonna attempt to unload it myself. The other item I got is this adorable little chair. I did pay $70 for it, but it is so cute. I think it's gonna look great in the space. So that was such a lovely day in Seattle, walking up in the Broadway area, the Capitol Hill area with my friend. We had a nice Korean lunch, and then we had a little Argentinian dessert. And now I am on the hunt for a box. So that is the hazard of being a reseller. I need a box that's big enough to ship the trunk that I showed a couple weeks ago, the yellow elephant I showed a couple weeks ago, and the little Aztec Egyptian warrior that I showed a couple weeks ago. It's going to a viewer. Hi, Denise. And I've been striking out finding a box. So now I'm at our recycling bin, but look at this wonderful weather I have to show you. Look how beautiful it is. My gosh, spring is in the air. There were so many birds this morning when I went for my morning walk. It was so lovely. Starting today, so I'm going to be training him. It's the first day of our store-wide sale where anything you want is 20% off, which is pretty big for a vintage reseller, like a vintage brick and mortar, to do 20% off. That's rare. And So Laura Caldwell from Left Coast Revivals is my absolute favorite YouTuber of all time. I am such a huge fan, and I know a ton of you are as well. If for some reason you have not caught her channel, you absolutely have to, because she is so fun, so energetic. She loves to travel. She loves finding vintage stuff, and she loves styling them, and she does such a good job of that. And for me, I have been, like I said, wanting to meet her for years, and I was so excited that she was going to come into town and I was going to get to hang out with her. It was like a dream come true. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh! Oh man, I'm good! Oh my god, I'm so excited! I'm so excited!
Years in the making, right?
I know! Several years. We are on our way to Thriftapalooza. So I'm so excited. The line is way bigger this time around than the last time. And I think it's because it's at the fairgrounds on this round instead of at the convention center, which was much more difficult. I'm so excited. I brought my little granny cart, and Laura Caldwell's gonna show up in just a couple minutes. She actually thrifted her way all the way from Poulsbo to Puyallup, which is, gosh, I don't know, about like an hour and a half. And so she said she found a ton of stuff. So I'm excited to see what she found on her adventure yesterday. For some reason, I felt a little overwhelmed and I didn't quite know where to start. And then my instincts kicked in. So basically, my motto when I go into a big market like this is look at the prices, and if the prices are within the range that I'm willing to pay, then spend the most amount of time in those particular booths. Like this booth, where I actually spent the most amount of time and hauled out the most amount of stuff, especially since they had a ton of clocks, which are always huge sellers for me. So now I'm meeting up with Laura. We're gonna have brunch before she heads off back down to Portland. I love a good breakfast. You know me, I love a good breakfast. a little bit of energy and plenty of time. So I'm hitting the 3rd Street Antique Mall, and Laura's gonna be here in a minute. Right away, a fan caught Laura coming into the door, and they had a little chat before we both started like shopping in earnest. These mid-century modern pieces were so cool. I love that pattern, but they were just really too high for resale. But this set of candlesticks at $7.50 were a good deal, so I nabbed those, as well as these wood candlesticks. And then this vendor actually had everything 50% off, and he had multiple stalls in this whole hallway and a case. I thought that was really interesting, but I didn't get it. But I did get this Jesus, as well as these brass candlesticks. Well, welcome to today's video. If you guys are new here, my name is Abigail, and I own a vintage and antique store in Poulsbo, Washington. I have a couple of antique booths in Seattle, Washington. I sell on almost all the major platforms, and I'm also really active on Instagram, so it's a great place to actually see a lot of the stuff that I find that doesn't even make it on the video. I also have a coupon code for my subscribers. If you use the coupon code LOVEITBUYIT, you will save 15% on your purchases on both my Etsy and my eBay shop. And if there's something that you're interested in that isn't listed online, just reach out to me. All my information is down below. So I hauled a bunch of stuff out of Thriftapalooza. I also hit the 3rd Street Antique Mall in Puyallup, Washington with Laura, and I found a bunch of stuff there. And I had actually bought a few things at Lander Street Vintage, where I have my antique booth. So let's just get started in no particular order. So at Thriftapalooza, I found these absolutely gorgeous glasses. The colorway on these is spectacular. They have those beautiful little stars, and then this beautiful kind of pink mauve color is absolutely gorgeous. I got a set of 8 of these, and I only paid $7, and I caught these on my way out, and I couldn't believe that the seller still had them on her table. I also picked up a set of these green glasses. I think there's like 4 or 5 of these, and then I think there's like 4 or 5 of the little ones. The whole kit and caboodle was only $6. I love this vintage set. You could totally tell it's vintage because look how little this cup is. And this one, so this was what people used to think of as a glass. Now glasses are this big, and then this was probably for juice. I'm always on the lookout for gold mirrors. They sell really well. Gold mirrors are still in, and I was happy to pick up this one. It is very elaborate, and it's actually made of like chalkware, and it was only $10, and I absolutely love the shape. I think this would look absolutely fabulous like in a bathroom, or it's gonna look fabulous no matter where somebody puts it. The other item I got at Thriftapalooza was this really cool little farm fresh box. It is so cute. It says 3-in-1, the 20th century oil for pianos, furniture, bicycles, and guns. And this side doesn't have writing, but this one does. And I only paid $3 for it. I don't know about you, but I happen to have this affinity for like boxes and containers and baskets. I have quite a few, and I just love this because not only is it utilitarian, but it's just really charming. And, you know, it doesn't look that old, but it is definitely old, you know, the 20th century. So it's probably from the 1930s or so. It's just in really great shape. So I paid $3. This one's gonna go to my Americana booth. So this is not my usual genre. I do pick up little figurines once in a while, but I did pick up this poodle at Thriftapalooza. The lady had 3 of them and I only grabbed one just because this is not my usual, you know, venue of selling. Like, it's kind of kitschy, probably from the 1950s or 60s, definitely vintage. 1962. So you know what I think this is? I think these were probably pre-fired ceramics that people could buy and then you would paint them and then they would get fired, because that definitely looks like somebody's signature. But I did comp them and they go, you know, I saw anywhere from $20 to $98. I think I'm gonna go with my magic number and put this online for $45. Anytime I can pick up vintage clocks, and now that includes also clocks from the 70s, I do, because they are really good sellers. So I picked up this one because I personally thought really dug it. It is definitely 70s. I mean, it does have like a broken little foot, but when it's standing this way, you cannot tell. And you know, a lot of times I don't even check to see if they work. I don't care, because for me, they are just really statement pieces. So I picked up this one. I also picked up this one. And this one is from the 1920s. It's a corded phone. So I'm not gonna cut the cord off. I will sell it just as it is. And I got this one, which is also a corded phone. And these always sell for me. Usually they are baby bends, but this is a little sentinel clock. But look at the aqua color on that. Is that not adorable? So again, I'm always thrilled to actually pick up clocks. Like I mentioned in the video, like whenever I go to a big market like that, I will look for booths where right off the bat, I can see that their prices are affordable and that maybe there's room for negotiation. And this was the case in this situation. So I think I got all of those clocks for like $28, which I think is a really good deal. And then I have to show you what else I got from them. So I'm not a huge like vintage clothing seller online. We do sell a ton of clothing at my store and even pretty briskly at the booth, but every once in a while I will find pieces of clothing that I just cannot leave behind. And I know right now that vintage slips, vintage 90s are really all the rage. And so again at that booth, they had a box and it was just piled with like slips and stuff. And so I grabbed a ton of them. And when I got them home, I could not believe what I found. So this is a beautiful one. Look how gorgeous this is. These are all vintage. It is just lovely. It really smells like perfume to me though. But I don't know, maybe I'll wash it on delicate. But it's so pretty and the material is just lovely. It kind of feels like silk. And then I also got, this is unbelievable. So this beautiful, beautiful slip nightgown. This one's a nightgown. It's super long. Oh, and the other one I think was also, but look at this. It still has the original tag. Is that unbelievable? This was from Frederick & Nelson's, size 36. It was originally $7. Now, Frederick & Nelson's, if you're from the Pacific Northwest, you would know that store because it was the counterpart to Nordstrom's. They finally went out of business. I think their customer base just basically aged out. Absolutely gorgeous. Never been worn. So new old stock. And then I have this one, and this one also has a price tag on it. Could you believe it? Also Frederick & Nelson. This one is a slip, and this one was originally $3.80. And then this is a beautiful one. Look at that. Also a slip. And I'm sure somebody could easily wear this as a slip dress. Look at the ruffles on it. Oh my gosh. So beautiful. This one does not have a new tag on it. But it is so pretty. And I'm sure it also came from Frederick & Nelson's. And then there's this one, which is just a nightie. This one doesn't feel new, but anyways, it was part of the group. And then this beautiful slip right here, with this lace on the bottom. All of those were $10 for the whole pile. I absolutely was thrilled. Another piece I got at Thriftapalooza is this chouinauserie, or is it chouinauserie? Anyways, this Asian inspired, I don't know if this is a tablecloth or a bed throw, but it's got this beautiful fringe all along the edges, which makes me think it may be a tablecloth. And this beautiful scene in this yellow silk. It is just gorgeous. I cannot even tell you what I paid on this one because I do not remember. I'm gonna have to decide what I want to do with this one, but it is beautiful. Now this one is one of my favorite items that I picked up. This naked David, well, David was naked. Anyways, I absolutely love him. So it's made of resin, and resin does turn yellow with age. So he is on the older side. I don't see that there's any damage to him. I'm gonna put him online, and I will probably put a higher price on him, maybe like $98. I did see some that were like $80 and up. Oh, there's another favorite item I bought, and that is this wonderful, it's made to look like an early American itinerant painting. So there used to be way back in the day, painters that used to go from like house to house, and they would offer to paint portraits. And of course, wealthy landowners would hire people to come, you know, famous artists to come and do portraits of their family. But there was also itinerant artists, and they call them itinerant because they basically just went door to door selling their art, you know, selling their skills in art painting. And so that's what this is supposed to be like, except it's not. It's not an early 1800s or 1700s painting, but it's made to look like that. And it is so charming with this little boy and his orange. And look behind him, there's that cute little table and this really charming rug. And of course, the dog. He is just adorable. I think I paid $15, and he's gonna go to my Americana booth. So just a couple things that I picked up at the antique mall. I did pick up this really beautiful piece of furniture that was marked down to $75. This piece of furniture, which is just gorgeous, was $75. I could not say no, even though it's still sitting there. I have to go pick it up. But I also picked up this wonderful, I don't know what that means. I was trying to figure that out. I think it says S-O-K, and I want to say maybe it's S-O-K-E, but this is a very early 1900s, late 1800s container, a kitchen container. And so you would basically hang this in your kitchen like that, and it would store, I'm gonna guess that it's sugar. Tell me if I'm wrong. So I picked up this one. And then I also grabbed this one, which I found out does mean flowers. So these are absolutely gorgeous. The wood is not in the best condition, but these are definitely going to be sold online. And I don't know what they're comping out because I had a really hard time finding any comparable ones to these, but I'm gonna say for a huge container like this, probably $95 to $125 a piece. So moving on to what I found at the 3rd Street Antique Mall, I found this chalkware Jesus niche. This Jesus niche. So basically, this one doesn't seem possible unless it held a little container for like holy water right here, because it isn't deep enough to put a little thing of holy water, but maybe you put a little bowl in there and then this would hang up on your wall in your house. He had a couple of like chips like on his beard and around the edge, and I basically just took some paint and just touched up where it was like off of the figure. And I will disclose that it does, I mean, chalkware is pretty darn delicate and it does chip, but I'm so glad I picked them up because recently I sold a Virgin Mary that was also chalkware, and she sold for $85. Whenever I find religious items, if they are vintage and they're well done and kind of unusual, I will pick them up because they do sell. So that last piece was from that booth that was 50% off. I mentioned that in the clip. I also picked up these from that booth, and these are really pretty, very Hollywood Regency, probably from the 60s, and they still have their original tags on them. These are comping anywhere between like $45 and $110. This one is missing some of the prisms, but I may have some prisms, and otherwise I will just disclose that. But if you turn it this way, you can't even tell. So they're candle holders, and what did I pay? I did pay up. I mean, it was at the antique store. So I paid $17 for these, and I am going to put probably $68 on these. I did wind up grabbing these little candlesticks. They're just very simple, but very cool. This is, I don't know if this was originally brass. Originally I thought it was wood, but they are just very nice, very simple candlesticks. I think these will be going to my Americana booth, and I will probably price them at $34. I really love this little piece. It's a scale. It's so pretty. This could be cool in a lot of different decor settings. I mean, it could be a little mid-century modern because it's got the wood plinth in the middle, or farmhouse, or eclectic. Anyways, I think it's awfully cute. And I have a good mind of like putting this online. So I'm not quite sure yet. And honestly, I cannot remember what I paid for it. It wasn't much, maybe $7 or so. And I think this one I did get at the antique mall. So the other item that I got from that dealer where everything was 50% off are these. And I absolutely love these. They are a set of pharaohs with these lucite bases, and I think that's one of the reasons why I really fell in love with them. Aren't they just the coolest? So the one thing on these is I have found these online. These were also most likely made in Italy, except that the ones I've seen online do not have lucite bases. So that is the biggest difference. And they are comping anywhere between $85 and $200. Well, I did pay up for these because they were originally priced at $119, and I paid $50 for them. And so I'm definitely gonna price them at $195. But again, it's because they are on these absolutely gorgeous lucite bases, and I cannot wait to get these listed. So thanks for joining me on this week's adventure. I'm so glad you came along. I always love taking you guys wherever I go. And if you get a chance to get out and do some thrifting, I certainly hope the thrifting gods will be with you and you find some fabulous stuff. And otherwise, I will see you on the next video.